Welcome to First Comes Love, Then Comes Marriage podcast. My name is Lindsey Jackson.
And I'm Aaron Jackson.
And we are so excited to have this episode, okay? Just in case you're not aware, this season we are doing a journey of preparation for you. We are taking you on all the steps, presumably, that you would go on in an intimate relationship. So far, we've talked about dating.
Yes.
And we've had a dating coach and expert come on the show to guide us into what it's like to date for marriage, to date for kingdom marriage specifically. And then we've gone into premarital counseling. And we've had a pastor premarital counselor come on the show and talk to us about what is premarital counseling, when should you go, what should it look like, and all the things that come before marriage. So even before engagement, right? And then we've had our marriage and family therapist come on the show, which is such a wonderful guide into how to navigate the issues that may come up in a relationship, in marriage, in a family.
Yes.
Right? And so, this episode is a 2-part series, and we're talking about how to stay in love and in like. And it came about because I posted something on Instagram, and it's like, I said something like, how often should you spend time with your significant other? And there's a song. It goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's pretty much every day. And I said, I like Aaron. I like spending time with him. I like my person. And that sparked some interest because people are like, wow, like, oh, okay, we assume you love him. You have this whole page about it, but you like him, like you actually like him. So we're going to talk about that.
Yes.
We're going to talk about it. First things first, attraction. And the question that I have for you today, really easy, pretty simple, is do you think that it's easy to fall in love?
To answer your question, yes.
Okay.
I do think it's easy to fall in love because, and my reason for saying that is that people fall in love unintentionally. And I've seen people just like, hey, I just fell in love. I think it might be easier for people who are looking for love. They'll find love, but sometimes love finds people. And so that's why the question is, do you think love is easy? Finding love is easy.
I was going to say, not that love is easy.
No, finding love is easy.
Yes.
Then I would say yes, because I feel like love is always good and it's always pure. Love is always pure, always good. And that if you're doing something that is bad or you're in love with the wrong thing, then it's not love. But you could still like it a lot. And those will be like a vice. Like something toxic will be a vice to you. Even if that vice is a person, even if that vice is an addiction to drugs or anything like that. And people mistake love, but love to me is pure at all times. And so I can be 3 years old and I could fall in love with the color red crayon. Or I could be 50 years old and I can fall in love with the squirrels that I feed on the bench. Like, love is not like this big grandiose thing. It could be as simple as that. And so that's why I think it's fairly easy to fall in love. But love is like a seed. It turns into a giant tree. And which, with that analogy, if you don't water the tree and take care of the tree and it's not deeply rooted, then it's going to rot.
Right.
So keeping that love fresh and make sure I'm maintaining that love is a good thing to do. But the main thing is that seed is just a seed, right? Anybody could get a seed. We're trying to do a lemon seed right now with action, and I could get a seed. Anybody could get that seed of love, but then maintaining it for me means that's where the work comes in. But the love, initial love, to me, yes, it's easy. So that's how I feel about it.
Okay. So the initiation of love is easy.
For me,
Right.
that's how I feel.
Okay.
What's your opinion on it?
I agree. I agree because I love. And we've said this many times. It's like, I'm a romantic. I have always been this kind of like swoon in me and have these deep feelings. But also something you said was if you're open for it. And if you are open for love, then I think absolutely it's definitely easy because you're ready to, like I said, be swooned. But I also, when I think about what you said and what is love, because we've done this before, and you should be able to define love, right? It should be that simple. And we always say love is actionable. Love is an action. Love is understanding that I will do for another person, if we just want to put it that simply. And that's what makes it a little bit easy for me to understand about falling in love. And this goes back to my point. Remember I was telling you, I was saying people don't say fall in love anymore. People say,
you told me that.
You haven't heard it.
I haven't heard it.
I have heard it. Maybe it's in my circle, but people are always like, I rise in love because
that's horrible to me. That is so horrible.
It's this understanding that love doesn't have to be something that you're naive about. You don't have to be stupid about it anymore. You don't have to fall for it. You both are rising together in it. You're growing in love. So it's just, I think that they're trying to, whoever created this new terminology, trying to like, I don't know, change up the language. So,
I rise in love.
I rise in love. So rising in love is easy. Now, like you said, whether it is not good or bad, but the right type of love or not depends on a couple of different factors. And I'm going to just skip ahead because we said we was going to save this for later. But to me, it always begins with like understanding self first. And we talked about this before, but in order for me to understand what love is, I have to understand who I am. I have to understand how do I love, how do I want to receive love, and what I'm attracted to. Because if I understand what I'm attracted to, I may be attracted to things that are not good for me. And so I don't want to misconstrue that to be love when it's not. You know what I'm saying?
I'm feeling you.
Okay, so say I'm attracted to something as simple as staying up late. I am attracted to staying up late and doing like all things late night owl, but I know that I have to wake up at 5 a.m. That's not good for me. I should not stay up until 3 a.m. knowing I have to wake up at 5. So it's just understanding like, okay, I know that about myself, but let me choose the right thing. And I think that helps when trying to navigate love. So that's where I'm at with it.
I mean, I feel that, but I also feel like I feel like I shouldn't have to be in love with myself. I think it'll be easier in the long run if I'm in love with myself, but for that initiation of love, I kind of like the naive part of that.
What? No,
it's
you
like
have to.
Because I had to learn how to love you, and you had to learn how to love me, and so I accept love from you differently than I accept love from my mom.
Yes.
Right, because there are different types of love.
Yes.
I accept love from my brother and anybody. I accept love from my son, and so me having that trial and error with different people and different women, different relationships that I have, friendships, stuff like that, even teammates, foods, anything. Right. I feel like receiving love. It's too much responsibility on me at first, where I feel like it's too much of a thought process when something could be as simple as like meeting you at 12 years old and saying, I like her. Oh, I like this, I like that. And it's kind of like, a process, a growth with each other. So we're growing with each other instead of me coming in with like, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I kind of, it could be a slippery slope if you're like, okay, this is how I want to be loved, right? And you could say that you like this stuff and this is how you want to be loved, but it's actually not the way that you should be loved.
I agree with
And so
you.
that would be tough if you're in your head saying, I need to be loved like this. But like some people with the five love languages, let's
Yes.
just go there real quick. So people know the five love language, and I'm not going to go through all five.
Yes.
But if I'm going to say, oh man, my love language is receiving gifts. Like that's my love language. That's my love language. And I meet this girl, and she's doing what I'm saying that my love language is, but it's not actually my love language. It's just like I like receiving gifts, but maybe my love language might be acts of service, or it might be
Words of affirmation.
words of affirmation.
Yes.
And so I am almost faking it till I make it. I'm like, oh okay, it's almost like a facade, and I think it's not feeding and exercising the right parts of the love that will help it grow.
But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about truly understanding yourself. So to go back what you're saying, you were saying at 12. I'm not saying coming in with standards of how this and this and this. I'm just saying understanding so that I can fully communicate things to you. And I think that that would be the first part of attraction and it being easy to fall in love. For instance, when you ask a girl, what does she want to eat? And she says, I don't know. We've heard this before. And
We heard this. You do this all the time. He's like,
stop
okay,
it!
okay.
No, and she says, I don't know. Well, that's frustrating, right? Because it's like, okay, I want to get you what you want and I want to please you, but you don't even know what you want or how I can please you. So at 12, I knew that I liked cookies. I'm very consistent. I was like, okay, I like chocolate chip cookies. This is what I like.
No, keep going.
And so if I understand that little detail about myself, I'm not saying you have to give me cookies, wrap it up in a bow, make sure you put it in the oven first. See, I'm not giving you those preliminaries. I'm telling you the basics because I understand myself. And that's what I'm talking about as far as loving yourself first and figuring out and understanding. And not that you should be so regimented in like how you want to, like you say, receive love, but just being able to communicate that. I think that that helps in the beginning stages of falling, rising in love.
Welcome to the Am I Wrong segment of First Comes Love, Then Comes Marriage podcast. This is part where I give you a situation that happened in our marriage, and you tell me if I'm in the wrong or if Lindsey in the wrong. This is situation. We are booked and blessed, hallelujah, and we had a commercial. Usually Lindsey is off on Mondays, and so we do laundry together. And for this particular Monday, we are putting the laundry into the washing machine. We're doing it together. We're spending time together, and Lindsey pulls out what was it, like a cardigan sweater?
Yeah.
So Lindsey pulls out this cardigan sweater that she did not recognize, and Lindsey is the only woman in our household. So it was a cardigan sweater that she did not recognize that was in the hamper, and we were putting the clothes up. And then she proceeds to question me about this cardigan sweater. And it's truthfully, it's not even her style. It doesn't even look like something
And
she
that's
would.
why I didn't recognize
So she was like, whose sweater is this? And I, seeing how preposterous her question of accusation was hilarious to me. I started laughing it off. I was like, I don't know whose sweater that is. Why is it in the hamper? I don't know why it's in the hamper. I don't know how I got there. It is probably yours. That's all I have. But she was getting kind of hot about this situation. And all I could do was laugh it off. Like, this is ridiculous to me. Even the assumption that I will have some other woman or anything And it would be crazy to me. Come to find out, when we did our shoot, like the week before, we got to keep the clothes that for the commercial. So I kept something, Action kept something, and Lindsay, because she was a mom, they had her in this cardigan sweater, and she wore that sweater, and that was the sweater that she had. So, do you have anything to add?
You're saying it right. I will share after you're done.
Oh no, because I'm done. I was just wanting to know,
wrong?
am I wrong for laughing it off? Because to me, it was preposterous that Lindsay would even have the idea that I would have some other woman in the house wearing cardigan sweaters and dropping off stuff in the hamper.
Okay. He's not wrong, but he is wrong. So let me just say that, okay? I never know where he's going to go with this. Am I wrong? That's why I was like, where is he going with this? Yeah, it was a cardigan sweater that was coming out of the washing machine, and it was a woman's sweater. So here's the thing. I went into the mode that I was in. I was just like, what is this and where did this come from? I didn't necessarily go to cheating, but perhaps it slipped into his gym bag. Aaron goes to play basketball every Saturday. I don't know what groupies be on the bleachers talking to him, trying to be like, oh my gosh, he's so tall, he's making dunks and shots and whatever. I don't know. And that's the thing. I am attracted and I love my man. So I know that women be swooning. And I literally was like, and also it's not my style at all. Like you said, like I did not recognize this at all. I was like, whose is this? It wasn't panties or nothing, but whose is this? So
she wasn't saying it like that. I just want y'all to know. The tone was not, who is this?
Yeah.
It was like, whose is this? I need to know right now, whose is this? So,
oh my goodness. Okay, so, I mean, is he wrong for laughing? Yes. All he had to do was
validate your feelings.
Yes, validate my feelings, y'all. You can DM us on Instagram or TikTok. First Comes Love, TCM.
You could always call our voicemail. That is 412-LOVE-POD. That is 412-568-3763.
Or you can email us, let's talk at firstcomesLove, Okay, we are back and still talking about falling in love and being in love in marriage. Mm-hmm. So, question for you. How long do you think the honeymoon stage lasts in marriage?
In marriage?
Yes.
Okay. 3 years?
Okay.
I'll say 3 years in marriage. That's if not like... Yeah, it's different. So if it depends on what marriage it is, and every situation is different. But I'm talking about like people who had a wedding, who like did the proposal.
Sure.
There was the only factors of me marrying you was I love you so much.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That is the blank sake. That's where I'm coming from, because there are other circumstances. Yes. Like some people get married when the girl gets pregnant. Somebody gets married when he's in the military or something like that, and he's about to leave. What's it called? Green card. And they end up falling in love. When I'm just talking like straight love, you want to bring your relationship to the next level.
Yes.
The first 3 years should be the blissful period.
Okay.
But everything is different. Like, you might get pregnant on the first year and have a baby.
Introduces a whole new
and
factor.
That, like, man, it is, yeah, parenting is hard, marriage is hard, and it just is ups at a level. There's always levels. It's levels to this, right? Mm-hmm. And so I feel like in the first 3 years, you're still friends. You're still figuring each other out. It's like, you're the bride, I'm the husband. We're walking and we're learning new things about being. We're still rookies, basically. I always told everybody, all my friends, they know this. I was like, I am a professional boyfriend. I was with Lindsay for 12 years. I was her boyfriend for 12 years. No, 11 years?
11 years.
I was a boyfriend for 11 years, a fiance for 1 year.
Yes.
And so around like year 10 or 11, like I was a professional boyfriend. I leveled up. I'm 10 years in the league. And then when I got married as a husband, I was a rookie. There are just like Lindsay used to was like, don't give a guy everything.
Yes.
Don't give a guy everything until you get married and stuff like that. And some people debate that. Did you ever heard that? Like some guys would be like, "Oh, you want me to provide for you, right? You want me to do this? You want me to act like a husband?"
Why is your tone?
Oh, because they're kind of like bravado. You want me to provide for you? She says yes. You want me to protect you? She says yes. It was like, so you want me to do husbandly things, but you don't want to do wifely things, and you want me to be a husband.
Well, then that's not true either. I don't expect husband things from you. We
I know.
actually got feedback on one of our YouTube stories or reels, and this woman was like, I disagree with you wholeheartedly. I was saying the point of the reel was when you're single, you live as a single person, and when you're married, you drop your singleness and you live as a married person. You don't do either one when it's not its time. And she was like, disagree wholeheartedly. You have to act like you're married when you're dating because they have to understand what it feels like. And I was like, okay, I love hearing different perspectives, and we love feedback.
Yeah.
I can agree to a certain extent, only to the extent of monogamy. I don't agree, and I'll still stand by my stance. I don't agree that I should be a wife to you when we are dating, because you don't get that privilege yet. You don't get it. But I do agree, and the people will probably knock me on this, but I do think that you need to practice being faithful, which is why that goes into we're monogamous. You have to practice that, because otherwise you're not going to date around up until you say I do.
Yeah, that's going to be tough.
That's
a tough sell.
Exactly. So, yeah, we need to practice being faithful. And this goes back to Dr. Emily McKnight's point. Abstinence helps you practice that, because if we are abstaining, then you're also abstaining from everything else, and you're just focusing your mind into what it goes into, what marriage will take, how it will need to solidify this union.
Yeah.
And anyways, I don't know how I got on that point, but
no, I like it. I love it.
But yes, I do. I think that with no extra external factors, honeymoon stage could last anywhere between 3, 4 some odd years.
After 3 years, after 3 years, you level up to like sophomore or anything like that. Like you've been married for 3 years, you should have some experiences. Like we got when our experience started, like because we were like la la la.
It was year 4.
Dual kids, no. What is it? Dual income, no kids.
Dual
income, no kids, and we were just in la la land.
But
we still had arguments. But we were still figuring each other out.
Of course.
But we were still we were so corny. It's kind of like, we're arguing, but we're married. It's like, oh, these are married arguments. Like, oh, the bank account is overdrawn. Oh, I don't know. It's kind of like seeing things as trivial, because like everything was under scope as a husband and wife. And so when I spend too much money, it's almost like everything was like a sitcom comedy type thing, like, oh, here goes the situation, how are we gonna get out of this?
But it's also what you see love as, like, if you watched people walk out, like if you watch the guy leave, if he's upset, then you think, okay, well, maybe that's okay to do, and you have to establish that's not okay to do. Or if you watch, say, oh, I'm gonna sleep on the couch, we're not gonna sleep together, and you're like, okay, well, is that okay for us to do? You know, like we had to, and that's important to figure it out.
I feel like the first 3 years of marriage and the honeymoon period is trial and error, and also learning how to communicate. The first 3 years should be learning how to communicate, learning how to stay friends with that person, because it should be a new level. So you're learning how to stay friends, you're learning how to communicate, you're learning the boundaries that you need to set as husband and wife, because there still is boundaries, but they might have been expanded. And so learning how to be more vulnerable. The first time Lindsay ever saw me cry was when I proposed, I think.
Yes.
And she didn't know what to do. but there was a new level of emotion that came with being my wife. And so those first 3 years is a growing process, and I was happy to learn more about you. And even though we went through premarital counseling and stuff like that, we asked questions that we wouldn't think about asking, it's still putting those questions into the actual marriage and seeing what goes on.
Right.
So you said how long is the honeymoon period?
I agree with you. I actually said 3 or 4 years. And again, this comes with no extra stuff that may come in, because like you said, that shortens the time. And then after that, the reason why I asked this question was you are supposed to be naturally, easily in love when you first get married, right? So you're in love and you're not necessarily thinking, how do I stay in like with this person?
Yeah.
And that is going to take us to our part 2. So stay tuned, because okay, so the first 3 or so years, at least the first year, because that's what people say. You're in the honeymoon, your first year, right? The first year, you're in honeymoon, you're in love, and you're also in like. You love and like each other.
Yeah.
You go on dates. You can do everything together all the time. You can just sit together and not talk. You can sit together and talk all the time. I married my best friend. Yes, exactly. And that's what that is. And so goes back to our first question. Is it easy? I hope it's easy. That part should be easy, because it's about to get rough.
Yeah. So stay tuned for the next episode, part 2, when we're talking about, because Lindsey and I have been together for 20 years. We've been married going on 9 years. And one of the things that people kind of knock us for, but it's also, I feel like is a strength, is that we have grown and we still like each other. I've liked the changes. I've learned her changes. She's liked my changes. She's learned my changes. And we still consider each other friends. We can still hang out with each other without, I say, like supplements, like alcohol or something to add on to the experience. Like some friends I have, I'm like, oh, I need to make sure that we're at a club. I need to make sure that we're doing something.
Right.
And Lindsey and I still enjoy each other.
So we'll talk about that, but please make sure, leave a comment, review, talk to us, share your feedback. What do you think? You can subscribe on YouTube, of course, and keep growing with us. And DM us on Instagram, First Comes Love TCM.
You can call our voicemail. We're going to start putting the voicemails on the podcast. So call our voicemail at 412-LOVE-POD. That is 412-568-3763.
Or you can email us, let's talk at firstcomeslove, thenComesMarriage.com. See you next Friday.